back to Outside the Box. Continuing our discussion on drug legalization, today we'll be discussing harder drug use, addiction, jail time, recovery programs, and decriminalization. While some believe in heavy punishment for drug offenses, others see it as a healthcare issue that requires compassion instead of jail time. Wilkes-Barre in the greater Luzerne County area is plagued by problems related to substance abuse. Today's guest, Jason Harlen, confronts the opioid crisis on a daily basis as head of the Wyoming Valley Drug and Alcohol Services, which works in the Luzerne County community to provide treatment, education, and other services for addicts in the region. So thanks for talking to us, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
First, we want to know, how did you become part of Wyoming Valley Drug and Alcohol Services, and what services are provided by the organization?
Sure, good questions to start. I started back in 2002, so I'm on year 22 now.
Okay.
So I can't believe it's been 22 years, but honestly, it was very interesting. I have a lot of addiction in my family, so I'm not sure anybody ever grows up and says, I want to be a drug and alcohol. Sometimes they do, you know, but it's not the first thing that came to my mind when I went through college. I wanted to be a probation officer. I wanted to be on that side. So I saw an ad in the paper, applied for it, got the job. Started doing intake evaluations. So that's the first thing you do when you come in for treatment. That's really important, is the intake. Started that and then worked my way up 22 years later. So I love what I do. It's not a job, it's a career for me. You know, they're two totally different things as far as I'm concerned. I honestly have never had a day where I walked in and said, I don't not want to do this. I love what I do. So luck, I guess, is how it started. You know, that's all.
Yeah, that's great.
Quitting cold turkey, rehab, 12-step programs, jail time, these things can't always win in a fight against addiction. Lately, harm reduction has become a big part of drug treatment. Can you tell us exactly how counselors and rehabilitation therapists encourage harm reduction as a way to help those in recovery?
Sure, yeah, I think what's important to remember, I think every agency has this different philosophy. You know, our goal is abstinence eventually, okay? Now, we do provide MAT services, which is Suboxone. It's a medication used to help people who have an opioid use disorder. You know, the goal is to get off that eventually. That's our goal as an agency. Now, there's other agencies that may say, okay, we understand you're gonna be on this for the rest of your life, you know? But we do educate our clients about harm reduction. You know, we have so much out there right now in 2024. As I mentioned earlier, back in 2002, a lot of this stuff wasn't around. So we have so much great stuff out there right now. You know, we have fentanyl test strips, we have needle exchange programs, we have so many different, Narcan, which is saving lives every day. Our overdose deaths would be substantially higher if Narcan wasn't around. So, you know, we believe in it, but at the same time, we also have the philosophy of abstinence eventually. So I hope that makes sense. Sure.
And is there ever a time where harm reduction becomes more important than other parts of the recovery process?
I think it's different for everybody. You know, there are instances where we say to our clients, okay, how do we get you to the end of the goal? You know, how do we get there? And sometimes harm reduction is that. You know, what happens is when somebody walks into our agency, every treatment plan is individualized. Just like if you go to the doctor, you have cancer, God forbid, high blood pressure, you know, there might be elements of harm reduction inside that, with the end goal being abstinence, you know, per our philosophy. So yeah, absolutely, that does happen, which I think is good.
And when are traditional recovery options healthier than harm reduction plans for addicts?
Again, I think it's the same answer. You know, everybody is different. There are people who come into our agency that we would do an evaluation on, and we know that they need traditional inpatient treatment with the potential for 12-step AA, NA meetings, that type of thing. But there's also people who come in and maybe they are still using opioids. We would put them on Suboxone in some instances, where it helps with the withdrawal, it helps with, you know, cravings, that type of thing. So it's such a tough question to answer because I think it's individualized more so than anything, but it's a great question because Joe might be different than, you know, Lisa. So yeah, I think it's different for everybody.
So it's rare when Republicans, Democrats, and independents can all share an opinion on any complex social problem.
Yes.
So it's been very interesting to see how the opioid crisis led local Republican State Representative Aaron Coffer to become a major voice in progressive drug policy. Coffer is a supporter of the Luzerne County Drug Court, which offers low-level drug offenders the choice to go to rehab instead of jail.
In a June 9, 2017 Dallas Post article, Jennifer Learn Andes made the following report. The Luzerne County Drug Court has been credited with saving money on prison costs and helping addicts focus on rehabilitation. County Drug Court Coordinator Kelly Cesari tallied the prison savings at $6.9 million since the court's inception. And the officials said the county pays approximately $12 per day for each court client, compared to $110 for prison lodging.
Now, considering all that you heard, Jason, do you think that Luzerne County is becoming an important center for innovative recovery treatments?
I do. I think they're all good questions. They're all good statements. We actually have a clinician who sits in on Luzerne County Treatment Court. So I will tell you that we live at an age in 2024 where we need to look at alternatives rather than incarceration. We know that in most cases, incarceration does not help somebody attempting to get into recovery. Oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes, people come out of jail worse than when they walked in.
Right.
Let's be honest, okay? Think about it. You put yourself in a room, a 4x4 room with a bunch of other people, it's not gonna end well. It's like the rat experiment, right? So yeah, absolutely. It saves money, it's saving lives, it's adding accountability on people when they need to be held accountable. If you talk to anybody in recovery, working a good recovery program, they will tell you that accountability is part of recovery.
Yeah, they want responsibility to build confidence.
It's
Yeah.
fun again,
Yeah.
right? Accountability, responsibility, it's fun again. So yes, I do think that Luzerne County does a great job as far as innovation is concerned. Are we perfect? Of course not. We never will be. It's just not gonna happen. But if we can, minimize the amount of people going into a jail or incarceration, saving lives, saving taxpayer money, that type of thing, it's a home run as far as I'm concerned.
One of the more innovative treatment strategies for addicts is the decriminalization of hard narcotics possession, giving those caught in possession of narcotics the option to seek treatment or pay a fine rather than face jail time. Only a handful of places in North America have tried this, and the results have been mixed. How would a successful decriminalization plan work best, and what would be the biggest problem caused by this method?
It's such a hot topic right now, decriminalization, right? People need to understand that decriminalization is different than legalization. Decriminalization, my understanding is essentially just eliminate the criminal penalties with it.
Yeah.
Confiscate whatever it might be, we're not gonna do anything, et cetera. Legalization obviously is allowing it to happen, just like cigarettes, just like alcohol with laws, that type of thing. As I revert back to my statement before, when you talk about minor drug offenses, jail's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Again, in most cases. Use diversionary programs, hold people accountable, but at the same time, we need to find alternatives rather than jail time or fines. That I understand fines, that's part of the accountability process, but I think that's the hard part. There are several states who have tried to decriminalize drugs, and for some reason, whatever it is, it's failed.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, people instituted decriminalization, and then they took it back 2 years later. So, we have to look at why. I don't know that answer. I have answers in my head that may not be right.
Yeah.
But, everybody's different. There are people who can use certain substances such as marijuana responsibly. Heroin, cocaine, etc., not so much. You're talking hard drugs.
Do you think part of it is just due to the fact that when they institute these decriminalization policies, they don't put in new policies for people to fall back on? There's nothing put in place to support those people other than the fines? It's just a less intense punishment rather than like an uplifting situation?
I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
I think preparation is just so important. One of the major things we see when we talk about gambling, when we talk about alcohol, we talk about tobacco, drugs, it's that revenue, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The state wants that revenue. The United States wants that revenue. Okay, that's good, but at what cost? What are the social implications? Okay, so, and you have to categorize, right? I'm not saying marijuana doesn't have its issues. It
Right.
absolutely does. We see it every day. But it's a different classification than heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, that type of thing. So I think that's a great question. Were we prepared, not us because we didn't do it,
Right.
but other states, were they prepared for what was going to happen with decriminalization, and were there powerful policies to back up the alternative? I don't think so.
Okay.
So that's a really good question. Very good.
Every city has its own problems. There's tons of people living in the world. I mean, look, we have 8 billion people in the world.
Yes.
So many different problems are in each state and stuff like that. So different problems, different drugs.
But you're right. It depends on
Yeah.
populations.
Yeah.
It depends on socioeconomic status. It depends on employment, that type of thing. You know, Dallas, Pennsylvania versus Compton, California. 2 totally different things,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, that definitely plays a role for sure. Good point.
Even in areas of America where all drug possession has been decriminalized, it's important to note the sale of wide public distribution of these drugs remains illegal. But as we know, this has had no impact on prevention of use or distribution. This brings us to the topic of safe injection sites where addicts can safely use their drugs under medical supervision to lower the risk of overdose deaths. There have already been some preemptive bans on safe injection sites in several cities in PA. Do you see this changing in the future? Anytime soon?
I do eventually. I have my thoughts on it. I do think it's a great concept. I really do. However, if you come to my job every day and you talk to somebody who's injecting heroin every day, they don't want to go to these sites. They want to do it at their
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
They want to do it with their friends, and I think it's a great concept.
Yeah.
The problem is that involves motivation to get up and go there. If it's done correctly, I think it's potentially a great thing. You know, but if you talk to somebody who's going through withdrawal, who needs their next fix, that type of thing, they're not going anywhere. They just want it. They want to feel better, want to get high, try to chase something that you'll never get again. So
Right.
the concept is good. I do believe that the concept can work, but the question is how. I don't think we have that answer yet. Do I think it's an option? Absolutely, for the people who want to use it, for sure. Anything that saves a person's life, anything that makes somebody healthier, I'm all for it. I'm definitely all for it.
So when I mean future, do you think in the next couple years, or do you think longer forward if with how times are changing?
For the injection sites?
Yes.
Educated guess?
Yeah.
Next couple years. You know, I think we're moving along pretty progressively. You know, the problem always becomes money. The problem always
Yeah.
becomes combatants from cities, ordinances, that type of thing. If I give you my best educated guess as a professional, I think it's coming, absolutely. Just with the legalization of marijuana too. That's coming, like it or not, you know? So, you know, the bottom line is, yeah, I do. I think eventually.
And the decriminalization seems to have little effect on the rise of fentanyl-related deaths. Some safe injection sites offer fentanyl testing, but other than that, what are like the best solutions outside of criminal justice that could help curb the fentanyl crisis?
Yeah, the fentanyl, we actually offer the fentanyl test strips at our facility, prevention purposes, that type of thing. Again, it's a great concept. Here's the problem. A lot of people who are actively using substances such as heroin are not going to test in most cases. Again, they just want to get the high.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking strictly from the clients that we see every day. I'm not saying it's the same throughout the United States. That's just based on personal experience, you know? So, you know, so I think it's a great concept. Again, you know, does it help some people? Does it help numbers? Does it help society as a whole? Absolutely, I think so. You know, again, back to the concept of if it saves one life, it's doing its job, 100%.
Absolutely.
So without decriminalization, how can society more easily understand the fact that addiction is a mental illness and not a moral failing?
Oh, the $1 million question that we try to
Yeah.
institute people every day. You're going to have that side of people that don't think it's a disease, it's an issue, that type of thing. You know, education is the key. It really is. We know that it's a disease, a brain disease.
Yeah.
Messes with the different things in your brain. You know, alcohol. Let's take alcohol, for example. 21 to drink it legally, right? You know, most people can do it responsibly.
Yeah.
However, there's that percentage that can't do it responsibly. They become addicted to it. They may become dependent on it, which is different than addiction, that type of thing. The problem is that no one ever wakes up and says, I want to be an alcoholic today. I want to be addicted to drugs. So, of course, it's a choice when you first pick it up, but as it progresses, it becomes an addiction potentially. It becomes part of the brain disease, that type of thing. So, you know, we need to do a better job society-wise as far as educating people, helping people have an open mind.
Yeah.
You know, even though you may not believe that it's a mental health, like you said, or a disease that we believe in, it is. It certainly is. All the evidence points to that. It's your brain is a broken car. It's not working correctly.
Yeah.
It needs to be fixed, and that's precisely what we try to do.
Do you want to explain the difference between addiction and dependence? Because they
Sure.
are very different.
They are, and young in my career, I made that mistake because I was young yet,
Yeah.
and sometimes you kind of forget that they're two different things. Addiction is, you know, the problem. You
Yeah.
know, what's causing the chaos in your life. You know, if I smoke crack or shoot heroin, you know, it becomes a problem for me. You know, it's affecting my family, it's affecting my job, it becomes problematic. Dependence is more or less a physical aspect of it. If you become physically dependent on alcohol, which in most cases you'll become mentally dependent as well too, but your body shuts down, you know, you go through a withdrawal, that type of thing. This explains it very well. Somebody who is prescribed medication, opioids, Percocet, Darvocet, Vicodin, that type of thing, even though they may not get high from it, or they may not, you know, chase it, that type of thing, but when they try to get off it, they go through withdrawal.
Yeah.
That's dependence 101, as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's that body's going through the withdrawal, the physical withdrawal is there, that's dependence. So I'm glad you asked that. Hope that makes sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know.
Like, do you think more schools should talk about like the not like a lot of them talk about drug use, and you know you see them put up like the posters.
Like the DARE program.
Yeah. If you think they should get like a better understanding of like the real aspects of it, like getting like addicted and all that.
Yes, I think that's a very good question. We actually have contracts with schools in Luzerne County where we have a full-time prevention worker go into these schools and we teach kids kindergarten all the way up through college about addiction, lifestyle choices. We have to remember, when we're talking to a population, whether it be counseling, whether it be kids, addiction isn't necessarily the drug alone. It's
Yeah.
the behaviors associated with it, right? The people you associate with, your mind, what it's doing now, the brain being affected, that type of thing. Prevention is so important. It really, really is. I smoked my first cigarette at 11 years old, okay? I smoked for 25 years. I gave it up 6 years ago now.
Nice.
We all did it.
Yeah.
I did it because other people were doing it, you
Yeah.
know? So that association with the same thing that my friends were doing, we did it. One regret in life, I don't have many regrets, picking up tobacco. It
Yeah.
was the worst. It was the
Yeah.
worst. It was expensive, even more expensive now, but prevention is the key. But at the same time, I sat in classes and people said, oh, this is bad for you. I still did it, you know? So you're not
Yeah.
gonna take everything, but you're gonna take some things.
Yeah, because even today, like I think I've seen posts on social media of like even like little middle schoolers like talking about like vaping, or you just
Yes.
see them vaping.
Yes.
Like almost
And-
bragging in a way about it.
Yeah, because like I know everyone says it, but I think that's a big problem today is because I've seen so many like adults and teachers talk about how like those like fruity flavors and like how like some of them got banned, or like how some of
Yes.
them like are designed to be hidden as pencils, and like not even just the high school and like college aspect of it even. Like it's like I think I know middle schoolers that have in fact like vaped,
Yes.
and I think that's like, I don't want to say it's even worse because it's equally bad, but like to like, because they think it's like cool, they think it's good, they want to do it because everyone else has done it, or they see like so many people, so many like family members do it around them, and it just looks like no big issue because it's bright colors and fun flavors.
Very attractive, right?
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
marketable. So, yeah, your point is very good. Vaping is a major, major problem right
Yeah.
now. It really is. You know, when it first came out, what was the point of vaping? I don't know
Yeah.
personally. To me, it's to substitute to get off smoking, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. All right. I don't know. Maybe that's the answer. But the problem now is you have people vaping before they even start smoking cigarettes. Okay. and it's extremely addictive. I vaped, I tried to vape to get off cigarettes. And when grape, it was a Juul grape.
Yeah.
I was driving to our office in Berwick, and you have to remember, when you smoke cigarettes, there's a filter. You know how much to smoke and you put it down. Vaping, a little bit different. Your lungs feel the capacity, but I gotta tell you, I was driving, I had to pull over, I hit that Juul, my heart was pounding.
Yes.
I felt
Yeah.
like I was having a panic attack. I threw that thing right out the window. I said, never again,
Yeah,
never again.
'cause
Now it's banned.
Yeah.
Now it's
Yeah.
banned, okay? It is marketable, it is attractive. It is a major problem right now. And now you have vapors putting THC in vapes. It's not just tobacco or nicotine anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, is it safe? Hell no. We know it's not
Yeah.
safe. Is it safer? To be determined. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
The long-term research is not there. It is in its infancy. Vaping is in its infancy. It just came out years ago. That's new in the substance use world,
Yeah.
right? So we'll find out eventually. Do I think it's safer? I don't know. So far, no. You know,
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
So let me ask you, when it comes to like the DARE program and Just Say No and all that in schools, do you think that that's had any effect at all, or do you think it would be more useful? Because in my experience, people aren't aware of the fact that anybody could become an addict.
Yes.
Anybody. They probably don't even realize that a lot of people they know are addicts.
That's right.
And I think personally, if we were to teach children that it's a slippery slope and it's not about just saying no, it's about the mental health problems that come beforehand before you even pick up
Yep.
what you're using to self-medicate. Do you
Yes.
think that that would be more helpful than to just pretend that drugs don't exist in your life?
Yeah. I think the key word used is any.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I think any program that is qualitative, if it helps one person, it's effective.
Right.
Okay? Do I think that it was as effective as they thought it would be? No.
Okay.
You know, that was around when I was a kid. I'm 46 years old. So, you know, I saw it. I saw the message. You know what I mean? So, do I think it had an impact on me to an extent? Absolutely. But what you said earlier is, back when that was implemented, we know a lot more now than we did back then.
Right.
We know more about addiction. We know more about mental health issues. We know a lot more about all those underlying issues that exist with a lot of people that we see every day at our facility. So we need to attack everything. So if we were to revamp the DARE program, it's got to look different in 2024. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
know?
because I remember as a kid, my dad would bring home like the stickers
Uh-huh.
and everything for us.
Yep.
And I remember thinking like, how is a cartoon lion supposed to stop me from doing like hard drugs?
Yeah, it was more a message, you know.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was more or less, hey, you know, remember when you were a kid and your parents talked to you and they told you something over and over again? I remember that now. It's like, my kids are 5 and 2, and I'm saying the same thing I said to my mom and dad
Yeah.
said to me.
Right.
But some of that stuff stuck with me. You know, I've never done heroin. I've never done any of that stuff. Why? I definitely think there was instances where I've had it offered to me,
Yes.
and I think back to some of the things my parents said to me, and I'm like, yeah, this is no good.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, not in
Yeah.
some instances,
Yeah.
you know, but cigarettes, for example, I still did it.
Yeah.
You know, but the fact of the matter was it was a whole different era back then. We know a lot. Your generation should be the smartest generation so far this earth has ever seen, because you guys are well educated. We have so much at our tables right now. So, yeah, it would need to be revamped for sure.
Okay.
I've seen, sad as it is, a 7-year-old come to my office, you know, because they found mom and dad's marijuana stuff, found it, smoked it.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, you know, family plays a lot. Association plays a lot. If you grew up in a household where there was a lot of drink and a lot of drug use, you're exposed to that. That's strike one for you already, correct?
Yeah.
Because you might think it's acceptable at that age. You know, environment is just so important. Crack houses. Why do you think they call them crack houses? People
Yeah.
smoke crack. That's what you're going for. You know, what's that old saying? If you go to a barber shop, you're gonna get a haircut eventually.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Same thing with anything else. Same thing. You go to a casino. In most cases, people go to a casino to gamble. Yeah, you could eat, you could drink, you could do this, you could do that. But the goal of that casino is gambling. Same thing with drugs, you know? So yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, the services that we offer at our place, we see everything. We offer counseling. We offer drug testing. We offer evaluation. We offer prevention. We offer mental health services. We see so much every day. And not everybody's story is the same, I promise you. We probably see 2,000 people a year. It's
Wow.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's high. you know, but the bottom line is everybody is different that walks the road. They started for a different reason. They continue to use for a different reason. So, you know, when it comes to that type of stuff, everybody's different.
So what would you say is the best way to support somebody, a family member, a friend who's trying to recover from addiction?
I think it's the timing of it.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has a wit's end, right? I lived with people who've had addictions. It is very, very frustrating.
Yes.
You know, I think everybody's different in that aspect too. You know, tough love. I truly believe in tough love in a lot of instances. You know, it's not for everybody. You know, when do you say when? You know, you know, how many chances do you give somebody? You know, that type of thing. But here's the good thing. We know recovery is possible because
Yes,
hundreds of thousands of people are in recovery today. Okay? And it works. What may work for Joe may not work for Lisa. So to have all that array of services out there, the different things that exist out there in 2024, it's a good time to be alive. It
Yeah.
really is, because we have so much out there. And there's a lot of people that want help. Here's the problem, the system's broken. You talk about mental health, for example, and it's not the facility's fault, it's because they're overwhelmed, they're underpaid, they're
Yeah.
understaffed.
Yeah.
Good luck getting a mental health evaluation here in Luzerne County. It takes weeks, maybe months to get an appointment.
Yep.
Think
Yeah.
about that. If you have a mental health crisis going on and you can't get in somewhere that day,
Yeah.
that's trouble.
And the crisis centers are always full now.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, it's not their fault.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing everything they can. But, you know, if I'm suicidal, I need help now.
Yeah.
You know? Now, what's good about us with drug and alcohol, we will get you in the same day. We don't care how busy we are, sit in our waiting room for 5-10 minutes, we'll get you seen.
Good. Yeah.
Not a big deal. Okay? Now remember, we're outpatient. We don't do inpatient, we don't do detox, we are simply outpatient. That means you're in and out for the day. You're not there all overnight, anything like that. Little lower level of care.
Yeah.
Okay? But we're a resource, and we've been around since 1973, so, you know, we offer gambling services as well, too. Gambling's
okay.
a major issue right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It really is. We got the casino 20 minutes away.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see
Most
those.
people can gamble,
Yeah.
entertainment purposes, but there's that 2 to 3% they say they can't.
Yeah,
So-
you see those videos, like, at least I see them everywhere of like the people like tapping on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give 'em
Trying
the-
to like do it.
Yeah.
Or like at the table, like raging.
Now you don't even need to leave your house. You do it on your phone.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I don't have my phone with me, but
Yeah.
right from your phone. Wake
Yeah.
up in the morning, get your cup of coffee, gamble your life
It's
away.
crazy.
Or even little things like, as funny as it sounds, like bingo and all that.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's straight.
I know I'm bad with bingo.
Listen, when I was a kid, the church bazaars had the bingo. They
Yeah.
had
That's what I
thing.
got to.
Listen, I was gambling at 6 years old. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, that definitely plays a role. you know.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, most of us sitting at this table, statistic-wise, won't have a problem.
Yeah.
You know, but there are those people that will, unfortunately. We offer services for that as well, too, and resources. So,
Wonderful. All right, Jason, thank you so much for being here. This has been a really great discussion.
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.